Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Boyle with TV Insider and TV Guide Magazine. We're here at New York Comic Con with the stars and creators of Significant Other on Paramount Plus. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Hi.
So, Dan and Robert, there's a metaphor here for marriage kind of being someone's worst nightmare. Where did the idea for that come from?
Well, it didn't
guys
come
are
from our
both married,
personal
right?
relationships. I'll tell you that right now. We both love our wives very much. This is more of a do as we say, not as we do situation. But no, we thought a lot about the themes we wanted to explore, and we really wanted the character of Ruth to have some ideas about relationships that maybe don't click with what society prescribes. I think from a young age, a lot of people, mainly women, are being told, you got to get married. If you hit 30 and you're not married, all of a sudden there's all this pressure. And, we kind of wanted to make a movie that was born of the anxiety of that situation. And, and the fact that she doesn't necessarily want to get married is something, you can't really escape those societal expectations. They just keep coming after you, which is sort of the, what happens in the movie. So
Cool. And then Jake and Maika, your characters have to learn how to cope with human emotions at one point in the movie. So given the context of all of that, was that fun for you guys to play?
It was.
Oh, you got no. I think that's good too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's honestly one of the things that I was most excited about with this character, because there's sorry, I have gum in my mouth, and I was trying to.
Just talking about it.
we said this
And I
before.
put it underneath my tongue, and then I couldn't talk. Okay, anyways, I've got gum in my mouth, everyone. Yes, so I think, yeah, I mean, I was super excited about, because there's so many layers to the character, and then there's also, certain parts where you want the audience to believe something, but I know something else, and so all these different, and it was quite fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Hard, but fun.
Yeah, we knew you could do
Jake,
it.
take it away.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know if I was I need to investigate ways to cope, and without getting into the second, third act of it, but I just had a blast seeing how much we could crank up or crank down what Harry is experiencing, if that keeps us on this side of a spoiler.
I think it does. And Jake, you're on a bit of an evil streak with your recent roles. What's the appeal of darker stories for you right now?
Well, it's really just material. This was an awesome script and one that I'd never seen an attempt to push this many genres into kind of braided around one another in the same project, and then in speaking to Dan and Bobby, felt like they had a vision for it and how to do that. So it's much more about that material, or this show on Peacock that's also wonderfully written, wonderfully created, more than me being what's the darkest thing going and how can I get in there?
I hate comedies. Don't give them to me anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm done with those. As much as being oh, this is available and they are interested in talking to you and the timing works and that's really great material. It's much more of that than a conscious let's get dark.
Yeah. And then, Maika, you've done a bunch of beloved horror and thriller movies. For you, with Significant Other, what stands out?
I mean, kind of what Jake just said. I feel like I hadn't really read anything quite like it. There's so many different genres in one story, which seemed incredibly challenging, but also having worked with these directors before, I knew that if there was anyone that could pull it off, it'd be these two. So yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorite things in movies are really good twists, and this movie definitely has that.
It definitely does. And what is your favorite alien themed thriller? And did are there any specific movies that you pulled inspiration from for references in this film?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, our initial pitch line for this movie was Under the Skin meets The One I Love, which for anyone who's seen those movies, which maybe they're not quite as big and commercial as we probably should have been saying when trying to sell the movie to a studio, but it's we really like movies that are not like we love movies where whether it's a horror or a sci-fi, where the alien or the scary thing is like really pushing a metaphor, and is really theme forward. And that was what got us excited for this. And, movies like, Annihilation or Ex Machina, like those are definitely movies we were watching and thinking about when we were writing this. But still something like The One I Love that obviously has a lot more humor kind of running underneath it. So, it's a specific type of movie that that we think there are, some people that are very passionate about those kinds of movies out there.
Yeah, and then the last question. I wonder what you think makes for me watching it, I felt that the humor in it made it scarier. I was like, they're laughing? Oh no, this is bad. So for you, what elevates a thriller when it comes to humor? Or how does
Yeah,
it?
I mean, I think that's, for sure. No, because it's a strange thing that you don't see often. And it's something that we wanted to experiment with and try something new and unexpected, because I think we personally love it when movies go somewhere unexpected, and not just in a twisty way, like, oh, the killer is somebody that you didn't expect, but almost in like a genre way where things open up and you're like, oh, I'm watching this kind of movie? I had no idea after the first act. And so we just really wanted to play with that. And I think one of the first, I think one of those kind of things that don't quite go together a lot are horrors and comedy, or thrillers and comedy, and it's hard to like keep that balance of letting the audience laugh and yet have there still be something, scary and tense going on. But I think there's a lot of great movies that do. I think Kathy Bates in Misery is hilarious. I think that there's a lot of great examples like that. I think Jack Nicholson in The Shining is hilarious at times. I think there's a long history of really good thrillers and horrors that do have a twinge of comedy in them.
You love to see it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank everyone. Be sure to tune in to Significant
you.
Other on Paramount Plus.